Hello everybody, I am the Pixel Voyager, and we are blasting off into episode 15 of our modded Terraria series. But you may notice I am not episode 15 Pixel Voyager. I am actually episode 17 Pixel Voyager. That's right, coming to you from the future. So what happened with episode 15 is I ran into a lot of issues with my ModLoader. It crashed a lot. I could only actually load into the world about 10% of the time, and spent about 2 days fighting with that, troubleshooting, fresh installs, all of that across the board. I think I finally figured out the problem. It has been running smooth for me since then, so I think we're good to go. But before we get into episode 15, I did lose that, and I need to get you kind of up to speed. So what I've got here is just some new housing. I needed to pack more NPCs in. They just keep coming. So I needed some extra housing, as is tradition around here. So I've got all of this. I like the fancier digs here, so everybody's living in comfort and style. But I've got all that built up. You'll see that throughout episode 15, but I don't address it because, well, I thought I already had. The other thing we'll need to do is hop over to the desert where I have a chest set up because I need to show you what my plans were for our rematch with the Hive Mind. At the end of episode 14, that's what you saw. I was getting beat up. I was struggling to get hits in myself. So, in between 14 and 15, I did a little bit of farming, a little bit of grinding to get ready for that fight. So what I did is I came out here to the desert, and I refought the Desert Scourge a couple times. And I used the drops from the Desert Scourge to craft these Victide bars here. I used those Victide bars to create this Victide armor set. Now the trick to this armor set is this is actually a set specifically designed for mages, for magic users. So, in equipping that, I went out and found this jungle weapon here, the Jungle's Wrath. What the Jungle's Wrath does, when you shoot it, it explodes into this little pile of spores, or these clouds. And these clouds do damage to anything they touch, as well as the main projectile causing damage. And you can see where they linger, they cause a little bit of extra damage. So I wanted that area of effect so I could hit the things that the Hive Mind was spawning, while also hitting the Hive Mind itself. So that was our plan, and I believe my new episode 15 will be cutting in right as we're getting to the corruption, getting ready for that rematch. So an exciting fight ahead, I know. You don't know yet, but lots of excitement, lots of things to talk about there. But I'll let episode 15 Pixel Voyager handle that. Finally back in the corruption, we are on the hunt. We are on the hunt for a Hive Cyst. We are on the hunt for a rematch. Hopefully I can kind of pop back and forth here. I don't want to go too far to the right because I'm looking to keep the Hive Cyst relatively close to my arena here. If I have to do a little bit of kiting one way or the other, that's okay. I'll do what I need to do. But speak of the devil. So we've got Hive Cyst here. We'll see about getting our rematch. I do want to try this wand here to see if that's going to do anything for me. That's what I was thinking about. Trying to use. Sorry for the little stutter there. I've been having issues running the ModLoader all day. Been fighting back and forth with the running out of memory exception. So finally got it to load up. We're just gonna have to hope that it doesn't give out on us again. But in the meantime, it's boss fight time. Let's buff up. Let's fight. I'm gonna have to be extra careful. I probably should have practiced with the jellyfish thing a little bit more, but this is working okay right now. We're going to switch over. We're going to just kind of cycle through a few of our weapons and see how each one treats us. But so far, I'd say so good. Being able to hang out way back here, it's nice. This seems to be dealing with the extra spawns pretty quickly, or at least, well, with minimal effort on my part. That's what I want to be able to do, is just kind of hang my cursor on the boss and let it do its thing. Already I feel a lot better about this. As long as we don't crash, that's the biggest thing. I'll take a death or two against this guy As long as my game stays stable, that could be a big issue for us. But 86%, taking a couple hits here and there. Now it's time to heal up. Oh, another stutter. That's making me real paranoid. Let's see. So far we're hanging on. Just hanging on at full health, actually. I think this may have been the ticket. Might try another weapon. Oh, I didn't mention one of my accessories. You may notice that I am firing this thing with reckless abandon with no regards to whether or not I have MP. One of the accessories I crafted off camera before I started recording this episode was a little flower, mana flower, I think it's called. I'll look and give you the official name. But it's an accessory that actually will use a mana potion automatically when I run out of MP. You saw it just happen right there. Now that does come with a little debuff that reduces my damage for a couple of seconds. But again, if I'm just trying to focus on getting damage on the boss and dodging everything that he's throwing at me, I'll take reduced damage for a few seconds in an effort to mitigate as much mental stress as possible. So yeah, this is still looking like it's going to be a long fight, but this one is feeling much better, unless something crazy happens, unless he starts really wigging out. I'll take a straight hit every now and then. Where'd he go? He's over here. Okay. Yeah, I'm feeling like this is definitely the weapon that's performing the best for me in terms of keeping everybody cleared out. So far, so good. Yeah, about to where we were when we died last time. I have another potion up. We're going to use that. I am going to not crash this time. The problem I'm having is keeping track of my cursor and all of the madness. Yeah, he's definitely teleporting around a lot more, trying to kind of stay on top of me, it seems. But I think we're okay right now. How long? Well, maybe not. Kind of the thing. Everything goes well, and then things can quickly get out of control, especially if he teleports right on top of me. I get stuck in his hitbox, then I can take 3 or 4 hits kind of back to back. Yeah, I like hearing all of these other bad things crackling into death. Oh yeah. Almost to my next potion, and he is so close to going down. I think we're gonna get him. I think we're gonna get him first try this episode. Okay, I can heal. We're gonna do it. 4% health left. He's way down there. I don't know if I can get to him. 3%. Keep away. Keep away. There's one big game of keep away, and that is that. We did manage to get him. I'm going to do one thing real quick. Oh, the ground is glittering with cyan light. Okay, real quick, I'm going to log out and log back in because this is going to save the game, so if I do get another crash, I'm going to mitigate that. Alright, we're back at the base. Still raining. It rains so much in this world. I'm sick of it. This is a toxic downpour rain. I got the message on the way over, but again, not worried about it right now. All I'm worried about is the loot from this boss. We'll check out the lore here. I did find out these are called lore. Makes sense considering that's what it kind of tells us about. But cursed flames when in the corruption, enemy spawn rates greatly reduced in the corruption. Okay, that's fine. I don't want to spend too much time on it. We want to open our treasure bag. Demonite stuff. Ooh, true shadow scales. I have actually seen a few recipes for those that looked really good. A shade thrower is range damage, a rotten brain, and a hard filthy glove. Stealth strikes have 10 armor penetration, so I'm not messing with stealth right now, so I don't really know what that's about. Perfect dark, the name of a sword. Vile ball that sticks to tiles. Legendary, that is generally on melee weapons like this the best modifier you can get. So that's pretty cool. Oh, that's the effect I was looking for, the little balls. Okay, well that's fun. 28 damage, I think it said. Yeah, but that's with a mage set on, so... is that better than 50? I don't think it is, but It's material, I think. Okay, looks like so far so good. So we're gonna roll with it. It is the next day, IRL. Been troubleshooting, been fighting with these crashes. They are still plaguing me quite severely. So I've done a fresh install of all of the mods. I've done a fresh install of the base Terraria game. I've done a fresh install of the mod. I guess the mod loader itself. And so far, things are running smooth. So we're going to let it ride. If this doesn't work, to be honest, I may have to take a little hiatus on the Terraria and give you something else. There are other games to play, of course. And this is just kind of the one I wanted. So I've been putting a lot of time, a lot of extra hours into trying to get this sorted. But in the meantime, we'll get back to the game. What I'm looking at is, after defeating the Hive Mind, I think I still have that video. It's kind of all over the place. It said the ground is glittering with a cyan light. In my testing and trying to fight with these crashes, I've been running around kind of aimlessly, trying not to do anything. But I did find, underground, a glittering cyan light, just like this. And it turns out this is area light ore. So defeating the Hive Mind has introduced a new ore to my world, and I'm going to collect a bunch of it. Or I'm going to try to, at least. So we'll see what happens. This will give us access to probably a whole bunch of new crafting. So maybe time to get some sweet, sweet upgrades. My goal, if the game will allow me to do so, is to try and break into the dungeon. And to do that, I will need to defeat yet another boss. This is just a standard vanilla boss called Skeletron. And yeah, that's my goal for what's left of this episode, is just to take on Skeletron, see if I can get into the dungeon. But first, we've got things to do. So I'm going to collect a bunch of this ore and get back to the house and do some crafting, do some browsing, see what kind of new and exciting things await. Luckily, it looks like the stuff is pretty abundant, so shouldn't take me too long, but either way, for you, it's not going to feel like any time has passed at all. We are back at the house, and I am noticing a few things for the first time, namely, all of these walls are gone. And that's interesting. When I had to do the refresh on the house, or on the mods, my guess is that was not very happy about it, because if memory serves, all of these walls that are now missing were wood walls. So I guess I'm gonna have to rebuild this, but that's not a big deal, and I will get to that when I get to that. I think everybody that would have lived there is probably migrating it over here. Yeah, the demolitionist and the arms dealer are now living in a little bit fancier digs, but they're okay. We'll get that set up. I will need that housing back. So, anyways, spent some time with the guide, and we've got a few toys to play with. So I'm skipping, last episode I think I referenced the taser here. I think I'm skipping this for now, namely because it requires Drayden's charging station to charge up, it looks like. You see down at the bottom, current charge, 0%. And those were one of the first things to really go buggy in the game. So I will probably pick one of those up later, but not for right now. My target right now is going to be Storm Surge here. I have everything I need to craft it. That's going to be kind of a shotgun-y kind of thing. Ranged damage there. And then I'm going to grab this pickaxe, and I'm going to grab one other big thing. The armor set is a pretty big thing, but Skyline Wings. These are actually a new flight mechanic. They'll replace our... maybe not our boots because we want to run, but they'll equip in an accessory slot and give us flight and immunity to falling. And the immunity to falling is really, really big. But to craft a lot of these things, I am going to need harpy feathers. Hi again, everyone. Episode 17, Pixel Voyager, back in business during episode 15 because, yeah, I've been editing and getting 15 set up and realized that because of all of the crashes and things that I was dealing with, I did not get good recordings. In fact, I only got black screen recordings of the back half of episode 15 and the entirety of episode 16. So welcome to our simulation of the end of episode 15. Basically what happened, I went up into the sky, you can see on my minimap here, and we explored all of these sky islands. We got a lot of harpies, got a lot of feathers. That's not too big a deal. That's not too big a loss. It was all pretty much just harpy farming anyways. If you want to see it, I can do it again. I'll probably have to do it again to get some crafting in. But in the meantime, the biggest loss is actually going to be the fight with Skeletron I mentioned earlier in the episode. We did fight him, in fact, 3 times. He killed us a couple of times before I figured out how to deal with him. Unfortunately, there's no natural way to spawn him again. The only way for me to do so is to take poor Henry here. This is the clothier NPC. You didn't see him. He is the old man who was hanging out at the entrance of the dungeon, and he is cursed by Skeletron. So we had to uncurse him. Once we do that, he moves into a house and he'll sell us some clothing items and such. Luckily, they do give us the option to respawn him with this item here, the Clothier Voodoo Doll. All I have to do is equip this in an item slot, or an accessory slot, and I can damage him. If I damage him, I murder him horribly, terribly, but he will summon Skeletron for us again. So that's what I'm going to do, because I want to show you that fight, because it's a boss fight, and we want to see the bosses. So let's do that. Here we go. I'm just going to run up to my arena here. So this is Skeletron. Look at him, wacky waving inflatable skeleton man. So we're going to hop up to our arena. I'm going to try very quickly to get this band back on our bar, not take too much damage. This fight may or may not go well, because although I am much stronger than I was when I fought him initially, I don't have the arena set up quite like I had. In fact, I didn't even start this fight with full health, it looks like. I've taken a lot of damage right out of the gate. So we may have a repeat of having to try this guy a couple of times. But we're going to get through it one way or the other, because I did want to show this off, because the boss fights are kind of the highlight of the series, and if I'm not showing you the boss fights, then what am I doing? So we'll play it out. I did make a couple of changes episode 16 after exploring the dungeon for a bit, and I created some hang on, let me focus here. I created some new armor. This armor set is based around ranged damage, because I got a few good ranged options to use. So I wanted to kind of maximize what I had there. Yeah, this is not going to go well. I'm going to try and cheese this with the nurse. Heal. Okay, yeah. This is how we're going to get through this fight, it looks like. Not the way I would have liked to have done it, but lots of things in these couple episodes are going to be not the way I wanted to do them. So, but we're going to adapt, we're going to overcome, and it's going to be okay. So, Skeletron, my target right now is to actually destroy his hands here. Destroying the head is actually how you defeat the boss himself, but if I destroy his hands, then he loses a lot of his offensive abilities. Unfortunately, I didn't do this very well. I should be targeting clearing out the hands about the same time, but I've been talking and I didn't focus my damage very well. So now he is summoning these little baby skulls at us. And the little baby skulls are actually rather difficult to dodge. That's the part of the fight that really got me in the last episode. But I did get a little bit of practice in, so I'm feeling a lot more confident about this than I was before. I am already out of good arrows. I didn't actually take a lot of time to set up properly for this fight, especially with the new ranged weapons, mostly because, well, I'm just kind of shooting from the hip. Yeah, but we'll deal with it one way or the other. I'll hop into the dungeon a little bit. Probably I'll have to do something for episode 16 and all of that lost footage, because it was actually a pretty impressive feat of Terraria playing. Ooh, back to the nurse. Heal. Okay. Yeah, when I got into the dungeon, episode 16 was going to be essentially just one long, uncut run of collecting just about everything the dungeon had to offer. But I'll show you all of that loot. I may wait until the beginning of, well, I guess what'll be the new episode 16. Okay, I need to get back up to my arena pretty quickly if I can. Bam. This is the first time you're really seeing these wings in action, too. The wings are always a great pickup. Normally, it's not something you get until much later in the game, so I was very excited to see those come in as an option for us so early. But you're seeing they give me a lot of extra mobility. Here we go. I may have to actually switch over to something else. Yeah, this is one of the mage weapons we crafted with the area light bars and the harpy feathers. It's fast-moving projectiles, it's accurate, it does a good chunk of damage. I actually, upon fighting this boss again, this is what I use, what's it called? Trade Winds, that spell book. That's what I used against him on the first attempt. But I'm not really kitted out to use it as effectively because I changed my armor set. So we're dealing with it. Unfortunately, this would be doing a lot more damage if I weren't firing just a bunch of wooden arrows at his head. I should crash. That's, again, just something I wasn't quite prepared for. But we're going to deal with this. We're going to make it through, it looks like. Oh, this was the other thing I wanted to show you. This is called the Storm Surge. This is one of the first things we wanted to craft. It was the first thing we wanted to really go get those harpy feathers for. And this doesn't use ammo. It is a ranged weapon, but it just fires these shock waves. And these shock waves go through walls. They do all kinds of fun things that make the fight that served us very well in the dungeon. Let's say there is actually one thing left in the dungeon I need to go do, so I'll take care of that. That'll probably wind up being what we do for episode 16. There just won't be as much of the, we'll call it, loot collection. So Skeletron coming down and dying pretty easily. Okay. I cannot actually pick up this treasure bag because I do not have any inventory space. So as soon as I figured out that my recordings were corrupted, I just hopped in and said, oh, let's summon this guy so I can get episode 15 rounded out. But that is Skeletron. So after I defeat him, I gain access to the dungeon. The dungeon is... Let's not zoom in too much because I don't want to spoil a lot on the dungeon itself because that's a good time. It's a wild place. But yeah, this is where I had fought him initially, and this gives me access to the underground here. The dungeon goes way, way down and then kind of expands out into a giant maze. Lots of new weapons, lots of new and exciting things to see, lots of new things to murder us. But yeah, we'll check all that out next episode, episode 16. For right now, I think I may just have to call it at that point for episode 15. It was a little scattershot. It was all over the place. I do apologize for the troubles on that, but it is what it is. I have to improvise as best I can. So, if I can find somewhere to stash this stuff, we'll go check out some of the Skeletron loot. Let's do this. Quick stack to nearby chest. That clears out a lot of space. Oh, look at all the arrows that I have rained down onto the world. They're going to be all over the place, but it's okay. So I actually didn't even have quality arrows for that. So, yeah, that's going to be good intel for me going for... Oh, no, I crashed again. Well, I crashed again, but I'm back, and we're really just back to round out episode 15. So we're going to round out episode 15, I suppose. So, yeah, I appreciate everybody's patience, everyone's understanding. I appreciate everybody sticking around to watch. So, yeah, if you enjoyed the content, if you enjoy watching me squirm uncomfortably as my software fails me, feel free to leave a like, leave a comment, leave a subscription. So in the meantime, I'll keep playing with this. Looks like I lost a lot of progress. That Skeletron fight was just wiped out by the crash. But, you know, it happens. Crashes happen. At least I got to show it to you, and said it wasn't a big deal. I wasn't in it for the loot anyways. So, everybody have a good day. I'll see you in episode 16.